Hello and warm greetings to you. Life can often feel like a roller coaster, filled with moments of joy and triumph, but also valleys of despair and uncertainty. Today, I want to share a message that speaks to those times when hope seems distant and trust feels difficult. The reason I'm bringing this message is simple. Many of us have faced or are facing moments where life's challenges appear overwhelming, and we're left wondering if God is still present or if He hears our cries. It's in these seasons that trusting in God becomes not just a spiritual practice but a profound necessity for navigating the storms of life. The Bible is rich with stories and teachings about trusting in God, especially when circumstances seem insurmountable. These lessons remind us that God's faithfulness is unshakable, even in the darkest of times. My hope is that through this message, you'll be encouraged to lean into His promises, find strength in His Word, and hold on to the assurance that even when all hope seems lost, God is still working for your good. One of the most profound assurances of God's faithfulness comes from Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, which says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." This verse is a powerful reminder that God's presence is constant and His help is certain, no matter what we face. When we feel surrounded by trials or overwhelmed by life's burdens, God's first instruction is to fear not. Fear often creeps in when we lose sight of God's presence and begin focusing on the enormity of our challenges. However, Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10 reassures us that God is not only present but also actively working to strengthen, help, and uphold us. His righteous right hand, a symbol of His power and authority, is holding us steady even when we feel like we're falling apart. This passage encourages us to shift our perspective. Instead of dwelling on our fears or the hopelessness of our situation, we are invited to rest in the truth of God's power and care. Trusting God doesn't require us to ignore the reality of our pain. Rather, it calls us to believe that God is greater than our circumstances and will never abandon us. Another source of hope can be found in the well-known words of Psalm chapter 23 verse 4. "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." David, the psalmist, vividly describes walking through a valley, a place of danger, uncertainty, and fear. Yet, in this dark and foreboding place, David declares his trust in God's presence and protection. The imagery of the rod and staff speaks to God's guidance and care. Shepherds use these tools to direct and protect their sheep, ensuring they stay safe even in treacherous terrain. Similarly, God's presence comforts and reassures us, guiding us through our darkest valleys. Trusting God in these moments doesn't mean the valley disappears, but it does mean that we are not walking it alone. So how can we practically cultivate trust in God when life feels hopeless? First, we can pour out our hearts to Him in prayer, as David often did. Honest, raw conversations with God allow us to release our burdens and invite Him into our struggles. Second, meditating on scriptures like Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10 or Psalm chapter 23 reminds us of His promises and helps us refocus on His faithfulness. Third, surrounding ourselves with a faith-filled community can provide encouragement, wisdom, and prayers when our own strength feels depleted. Trusting God when all hope seems lost is not an easy task, but it is transformative. It requires faith that goes beyond what we can see and a willingness to surrender our fears to the one who holds all things in His hands. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10 and Psalm chapter 23 verse 4 remind us that God is always with us, strengthening and guiding us even in the darkest of times. Just as a shepherd never abandons his sheep, God will never abandon you. Take heart today and be strong. The trials you face are not the end of your story. With God, there is always hope, always a way forward, and always the promise of His faithful love. Trust in Him, for He is with you, upholding you with His righteous right hand and walking with you through every valley.